Hello all, welcome back to another Not Yu-Gi-Oh video. When will I ever do one of those again? Probably when the next ban list is, but kind of just whenever I feel like it. I don't know, I've kind of just been doing whatever I want at this point, as you can clearly see. I just rewatched Teen Titans, and I would like to rank those as I've done with the Avatar The Last Airbender episodes, because I like this series and free content, I guess. I don't know, I'm kind of just doing this because it's fun. I get like 10 views, if any, on this, so I'm just kind of doing it because it's fun. As you can see, all the stuff is before us, and I don't do S through F tier. There's something to enjoy from every single one of these, and there is much more differentiation, so an S through F tier would definitely be more appropriate for a series like this, but I'm lazy and I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to put them in order of whichever one I like most to best, and then we'll see what happens from there. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Starting off, the funny part about this is there's a little caveat to saying quote unquote episode 1. For those like myself who didn't know or didn't remember, first and foremost, the series aired from 2003 to 2006, so my memory of the very beginning of this airing is a little scanty. I actually did not know that what is technically listed as episode 1, which is Divide and Conquer, actually aired as episode 3. So the first quote-unquote other two episodes, the first one to air was actually what here is labeled as episode 3, Final Exam. Then episode 2, Sisters, aired after that. Then what we know as episode 1, Divide and Conquer, aired as episode 3. So technically speaking, it should be 1, 2, 3. However, anytime you look up an episode list or like on the complete series bundle disc pack that I have, it is episodes 1, 2, 3. So that's what they are officially, but that's not how they aired. And I didn't know that, and that's really, really funny. Thankfully, each of these serves as a decent introduction to the series anyway, so it doesn't end up mattering. But I just thought that that was a fun little tidbit of information. But officially starting the ranking, of course, we have the first episode, Divide and Conquer. This is just going to be our starting point. I like this. It's early Teen Titans, so it's really simple. Robin and Cyborg feuding with each other is the main conflict going on in here. They fail to execute a combo. Cyborg leaves the team. We know that's not going to be permanent because this is the first or third, depending on how you're looking at it, episode. So you know it's not going to last. The villains are really simple. It's kind of an introduction to Slade, who's way cooler, so not much really going on here. Sisters. I don't know if I like this better because Divide and Conquer is a decent intro. There's decent team dynamics. You get a introduction to everybody. This is really simple. I didn't remember as I rewatched the series that Blackfire is only in this episode and one episode later. I thought she was in way more episodes, but turns out she's only in 2. Do I like it better than Divide and Conquer? Not much goes on here. I don't really like the way that... Yeah, I thought Starfire should have gotten a genuine win over Blackfire instead of her just being arbitrarily captured. I'm going to put it here for now. I think I like Divide and Conquer a little bit better. I'll go back and revisit these throughout as I go on. Final Exam. I think this episode works a little bit better than the rest of them. You get to meet... we learn more about the Hive later, but they're a good introduction of, good foils of all returning villains who come back later in the series, and, they're simplistic enough. It's not, a bunch of Machiavellian stuff as of yet. Again, we learn more about the Hive later. But the important part is the 3 words that everybody remembers from this episode. Who is Slade? That's who we really care about in this, and that serves as a great introduction to that. Forces of Nature, I think, is probably going to go at the bottom. If Thunder and Lightning had been introduced later on in the series, I think it would have worked a bit better. Their motivations don't really do much for me. Lightning's just there to be kind of an asshole, and Thunder is just there to, we're just having fun and being manipulated by his brother. He has more of a conscience, so Beast Boy is able to talk him out of it a bit more, but then Lightning keeps egging him on. I really don't think it works as episode 4. I think if they had given it more time, like if they introduced them either later on in this season or maybe even in season 2, I think this episode would have worked a bit better because the main Titans would have been fleshed out a bit more. We would have been able to see a wider variety of villains. I just don't think it works where it is. and a lot of the notes just don't land for me. It just comes off as kind of childish, unfortunately. The sum of his parts. This one is. Oh, I don't know if I do. I like it more than Final Exam because Slade's introduction is nice, but this episode is really, really good. You get to see a lot into the character of Cyborg, especially he fears becoming an entire machine. And Tom Kenny just gives a great performance as he was both Mumbo and Fix-It in this episode. I did not know that, but anything Tom Kenny usually ends up going well. And the character of Cyborg, you really, really get to see into his psyche with this. The action's kind of whatever. That's why I'm tempted to put Final Exam over it. But story-wise, I'm going to put it here for now. I'll play around with this later on. But story-wise, this is just so good. Nevermore. This is the first big Raven episode. Beast Boy and Cyborg accidentally open up a portal into Raven's mind after sneaking into her room. There's a whole prank subplot, whatever, going on with this, and it's but really getting to see into Raven's consciousness. This is kind of the Raven episode to the Cyborg episode we just had, learning a bit more about her and her character and motivations. This episode is really, really good because we also get the foreshadowing for Trigon, who's going to be the big bad guy in season 4. Do I like it? I think it's better. It's probably better than the sum of its parts. It's a really. I don't know because Cyborg's psyche in that I think was a little bit deeper, especially his fears. Nah, I think you get more. I think you get a bit more complexity out of Raven, especially when you pair it with one of the other. Matter of fact, as the next episode, so I guess I'll talk about that in conjunction as well. We get Switched. I wanted to call it the Puppet King because that's the villain, but the episode is actually called Switched. This one. This may be going above these because you really get to see a lot of both the characters of Raven and Starfire. The Puppet King as a villain is kind of interesting. He has the most unique set of powers, at least in this early season, in that he kind of takes everybody over by trapping their souls in puppets and controlling their bodies. It's a little contrived because his power seems to only work whenever they sleep next to the puppets that he just shipped them. So, if they didn't do that, then would this have worked? Probably not. But, my own little grievances with that aside, his powers are kind of neat for what they are. But the important part about this is you really get to see into the character of Raven and Starfire, especially as they switch. One thing I wish they would have done is they do the mistake of having characters switch bodies of whenever they talk in their switch bodies, they don't talk with their character voices. So Raven is now in Starfire's body, but she still sounds like Raven. And Starfire is in Raven's body, but she still sounds like Starfire. I think it would have been cool if they had the voice actresses try to imitate the other character, further portraying the switch. But that's just a tiny little nitpick I have with that otherwise nice episode. I am probably going to put it above. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it above this because, the insight you get, especially into how their powers and their psyches work, you understand that Raven is as reserved as she is because she has to control her emotions. If she doesn't, her powers go berserk, and she risks letting Trigon loose, which is actually what the previous episode was about. And Starfire can be more reserved if she wants to be, but she has to be as emotional as she does because Starfire's powers are fueled by her emotions. So it's a fun little switcheroo that they have to do to get into each other's psyches to control each other's powers, which really feeds into their character explanations a lot more, which I really, really like. That's why I think I'm going to put it just above this. Yeah, I'll keep it there for now. I'll come back and move some of these around a bit later if I want to. Deep Six is up next. This episode really doesn't. This is gonna go kind of far down. Man, I think it's gonna go just above. Do I like it better? Yeah, I like the Blackfire episode better. Aqualad's an okay character in and of himself. He's just kind of plain. Apparently he's voiced by Will Wheaton, which I didn't know until I looked up his voice casting. So that was neat to be able to see that he was in this as well. Otherwise, not really much interesting stuff happens in this episode. Trident's kind of an okay villain, voiced by Clancy Brown, apparently the voice of Mr. Krabs. So in addition to Tom Kenny in the other episode, and I'm trying to remember what the other episode is that has Patrick's voice actor. I forget his name. I feel bad for that. But one of these other episodes has a character who's voiced by Patrick. So all the main SpongeBob cast, and Squidward as well. So all the main SpongeBob cast get their time to shine in Teen Titans land here as their voices. So that was interesting to figure out on my rewatch of this. But back to this episode, it's Trident really isn't a villain that's all that cool or all that grand ambition. He doesn't really do much for me. And Aqualad's okay, but it's I mean he's kind of simple. It's your standard underwater episode, and he doesn't really do much for me here. Masks. This is where Robin becomes Red X to try to win Slade's trust to figure out what he's up to. This episode is really good. I'm just trying to think if I want it over the Starfire Raven episode. No, I think I do. Do I? Man, because this episode is so good. You see how far Robin is willing to go, and especially that little line from Starfire at the end of the episode where she notes how Robin and Slade are just so similar because Slade operates alone and doesn't trust anybody, and Robin didn't trust them in that episode. That's a really humbling moment for him. He was willing to go right up to the line and almost cross it because he was stealing stuff to try to get Slade's trust, which that's something he swore to never do, and yet he did it here. Man, I really like the Starfire Raven episode though, because you really get a good glimpse in their psyches. But I think I'm gonna put it here. I'll revisit these later, but for now it's going here. Just this episode's really cool. Mad Mod. Mad Mod will always be a villain that always makes me laugh because just his premise alone is basically he weaponizes being British, which is incredibly funny to me, and that's really all his character is. He builds this elaborate trap that just weaponizes being British. He traps the Titans in a bunch of school-related traps, and it's just a really funny comedy episode. I tend to gravitate more toward the serious episodes of Teen Titans, but there are some goofy comedic episodes that end up being pretty funny and that I end up enjoying. This is one of them, I think. Most of the bits land. Mad Mod just as a comedic villain weaponizing being British is hilarious to me, so I like that. I don't know if it's going above some of these because getting into a lot of the cool character moments, like with the Raven episode and the Raven and Starfire episode and the Masks episode, it's probably going here. It may go under the sum of its parts too, because really getting more in depth about Cyborg's character is really cool. This is tough. I think it's gonna go here for now. Like I said, I gravitate more toward the serious stuff, and I'm not as much a fan of the goofy comedic stuff. However, this one's really good, so it's probably gonna stay high. Like it's gonna stay above all of these definitely. But I'll revisit this as I rank some of the episodes later on. Car Trouble, kind of an underwhelming episode. Cyborg builds a car, somebody steals it, he has to go after it. I think Overload and Gizmo kind of take it over at some points, and then at the end he has to destroy the car and then build it up again. This episode doesn't really do much for me. Gizmo's part in this is okay. Overload as a villain is kind of just bland and underwhelming. I'm not really much of a fan of this. There's not really none of the comedy in this episode really does much for me, and the motivations are really shallow. You can just rebuild. I understand putting your heart and soul into building something, but like you can just rebuild the car after doing it. And I don't think the Titans are short on funds to be able to do that. And I know that's me putting reality into a kid's show about teenage superheroes, one of whom is half robot in this and builds a robot car based off of him, but I digress. This one's probably going to go down pretty low. It may go under I think it may go under the Aqualad episode, as much as I hate to say that. Just not much interesting to me happens in this episode, so I think it's just going to go there for now. I'll revisit it, but I think it's going there for now. What is not going low, however, is Apprentice. So this is Apprentice Part 1 and 2. I forgot to explain this earlier, but all of the episodes that are meant to be viewed as a multi-part, so like Apprentice Part 1 and 2, Aftershock Part 1 and 2, Titans East Part 1 and 2, The End Parts 1, 2, and 3, and then the two at the end with the Brotherhood, with the I cannot talk, with the Brotherhood of Evil. Yes, there we go. Even though those aren't two-parters, I believe that's Calling All Titans and Titans Together. While not an outright two-parter, I'll be ranking them together because that's supposed to be a two-parter finale type episode, so I will be ranking those together. So continuing this, Apprentice Part 1 and 2 is going to be, this is going to stay at the top of the list. This is probably going to be one of the best episodes in the series. I think there may be one that's going to dethrone it later on, but we'll cross that when we come to it. Apprentice is just so good. You see Robin obsessing over Slade throughout the rest of these episodes, and then Slade master manipulating Robin into pretty much forcing him to be his apprentice, and then the fight between Robin and the Titans, neither of whom want to fight each other as that fight's going on top of a Wayne Enterprises building, by the way. So you know that this is you know that Batman is technically in this universe, even if he never makes an appearance in an episode. It's just every single part about this is so good. Slade manipulating everybody and being as smart, cunning, and just strong as he is. The fights that go on in this, it's just I could go on and on about Apprentice. It's just so good. This is gonna definitely stay at the top of the episodes. I'm just forewarning you now. It's so good. And that is the end of season 1. So starting season 2, Apprentice is really good. Going into another really, really good episode. How Long is Forever? This episode is I think this is going over the Red X episode. This episode is so good. Like, Apprentice is just better than it. But notably, throughout this entire series, you never really get a character arc like as much as Robin or Beast Boy or Raven or Cyborg. There's not really a dedicated Starfire arc, but this episode would be one if ever there was one, and boy, is it good. I mean, it's just, oh, man. There's a bunch I could say about this episode, but so much happens in here that's good. You see, Warp is a really, really cool villain until they bring him back in the finale with the Brotherhood of Evil. I really wish they didn't bring him back in that because it kind of ruins his power and his just cool factor with how easily he gets beaten in that. I think this should have been the only episode he was in, but I digress. He's a really, really cool villain. The premise for this of Starfire being sent into the future after trying to keep her friends together for some Tamaranian friendship festival, it ends up, you dismiss it at first, but then you realize, well, Starfire kind of in a lot of ways is the friendship glue that holds the Titans together, because you jump to 20 years later and none of them are doing the same things except for Robin, who becomes Nightwing. Raven locks herself away to isolate herself from others to keep her powers under control. Beast Boy just gave up crime fighting because he got his butt kicked too much. Cyborg can't leave the tower because he's part machine and his battery cells have died off and he's got to stay plugged up to that. As you just see so much, you just get so many character moments in this, and you see so much into both Starfire's character and psyche and all the rest of them. This episode, this is one of the more serious episodes in the series, and like I say, I gravitate toward the more serious ones, and this one is just so good. I could keep going on about this one, but that episode is just so good. Next, Every Dog Has His Day. Like I said, I gravitate toward the more serious episodes, and this one is just like goofy and bad. This may be the worst one so far. I think I would legitimately rather watch the Thunder and Lightning episode. I just the whole subplot about, you know, this guy Soto mistaking Beast Boy for his dog and then thinking Beast Boy's cooler. This guy's just here to be a big dumb idiot and mistake Beast Boy for somebody else, and it's a, oh no, Beast Boy got kidnapped, we got to go get him back episode, and it's the entire episode is just a goofy chase down, and it's, like I said, Soto's just not interesting. He's just big, dumb, less strong, less interesting Cinderblock. Like I legitimately like Cinderblock as a character better, and Cinderblock's entire thing is just he's a giant concrete monster who's really strong. Like this just doesn't do it for me. It's goofy, it's ridiculous, and it's just kind of there. Like that's all I have to say about that. Terra is one of the coolest characters in this series, and On rewatch of this, I forgot that she was not in as many episodes. I think she's only in like 4 or 5 episodes in this entire series. I thought she was in way more than this. I Yeah, I thought she was in way more. But this episode is good. I mean, Tara's introduction, Slade, Slade setting up that he wants to take control of. She doesn't want her going to the Titans, and basically it's another apprentice setup. And just Tara as a character is really cool. The whole plot going on with her is just so good. I don't know if I like this better than the Red X episode, but this is going up there. Uh, it's not better than Apprentice, unfortunately. Apprentice is a two-parter, which is really good. I don't know if I like it more than How Long Is Forever, although this is tough because Tara's introduction to the series is really, really good. Uh, it really sets up her feelings on the matter. I used to not like how contrived I thought it was that she thought Beast Boy betrayed her because she can't control her powers. Beast Boy finds out, and she doesn't want him to tell the others because she's insecure about it, and then Robin figures it out on his own, so she thinks that Beast Boy betrayed him and that therefore they all betrayed him, which kind of leads her into the arms of Slade later on after a big misunderstanding. And I used to not like that, but then I realized she's a kid. She's a teenager. Of course there's going to be insecurities there, and of course that would be the natural feeling for her, which would then go into the setup of a bunch of the other stuff that's going to happen. So I kind of like it a bit better. It is on the more serious side as well, and just like I said, Tara's character, especially the rest of the episodes they give her, is really good. Do I like it better than How Long Is Forever, though? Because that episode is really, really serious about going into everybody's mindset with that. I think I'm going to leave Tara for... I cannot talk. I think I'm going to leave Tara here for now, just above the Masks episode. This upper section, especially as I add more of the episodes, I'm going to revisit later on, but I'm just going to leave it here for now. But this episode is really good. Only Human. This is Cyborg and the Titans versus Atlas, but especially Cyborg versus Atlas. And this is another Cyborg-focused episode. This episode is really, really good. You get to see a lot more into Cyborg's character and a lot more of his fears and insecurities of being a machine. It starts off with them doing their training, and Cyborg is unable to lift a certain amount of weight because he has a machine body now, and it has hard-built limits into it. And he goes into his past saying he used to be an athlete. He loved to be able to push himself and give 110%, but now because he's a machine, he can only give 100%, and he feels held back and insecure by that. And then along comes Atlas, who is just naturally stronger than him, at least until the end, because, the plot has to go on and he has to win. Atlas, by the way, is voiced by Keith David, who just, for those that don't remember him, Keith David's in everything. He was Spawn, he's the Arbiter from Halo, he is the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog, so many other things. Keith David was probably majority of your childhood, so just hearing his voice in this is just great. Atlas as a villain is just he's really simple, but he works. He's just strong asshole, and that's all he's meant to be when he's in there. But I think I'm gonna put this above the Terra episode because this is such a good episode for Cyborg. You really get to see into his mentality, and then him express that concern to his fellow Titans, and then to see him at least in small part overcome that by the end of the episode, which feels a little contrived. I mean, if his body's machinery, then how is he able to push past his limits? But explaining that away with his human side does a little bit. But yes, that's just my little nitpick on that, and that's not really that bad of a nitpick. It's just this episode is just really good. Like I said, I'm going to go back to some of these other episodes later, but this episode is just really good. Next is Fear Itself. I believe this is the first episode with Control Freak, who's just kind of basic in this episode. This one is a really nice insight into Raven's psyche, actually, because we learn more that Raven's powers are driven by her emotion, and the way it happens is a little ridiculous. They watch a horror movie after defeating Control Freak, and then they think Control Freak is summoning monsters and a bunch of other stuff in the tower to be able to go after the Titans. They start disappearing one by one. The monster from the movie shows up. A bunch of these other creatures show up and start making them disappear one by one, horror movie style. But turns out it's just Raven's powers going under control because she was afraid and she just wasn't admitting it, and she was letting her powers go out of control without knowing it. It's a really nice insight into Raven's mind a bit more because you realize who she is, and later on, of course, we learn what she fears and why she wants to keep her powers in check because of the whole Trigon prophecy of doom thing. But this is a nice little temporary view into that, and just a good episode for her psyche. It's going to go a little bit lower than the rest of these, but this is still a really nice episode. I think it's going to go under. It's going to go right around here with her episode with Starfire and her episode with Beast Boy and Cyborg. I don't know where I would like to put it. Probably just under Nevermore if I had to guess. Man, this one's actually tough. The Control Freak side does kind of drag it down, but it's getting into Raven's head with this that I think does a bit. I think just under the sum of his parts, because that's a really good episode for Cyborg. I think just above Mad Mod, because again, Mad Mod is a really good episode, but I tend to go toward the serious stuff a bit more, so I think just over that. Next, Date with Destiny. This episode airs a little bit more on the goofy side. You start to see a bit more into Robin and Starfire kind of liking each other. But, I mean, Kitten as a pseudo-villain and Killer Moth as a villain don't really do as much for me. Fang is ridiculous. You have the whole subplot with Kitten trying to make Fang jealous, so she, has her dad, Killer Moth, essentially bribe Robin to go into the prom with her. It's this again. This episode airs more on the goofy side, so it doesn't really do as much for me. So it's probably going a little bit further down. It's probably going under the. Not much happens in the Aqualad episode. At least with this, you get a few okay moments between Robin and Starfire. You start to see at least the beginnings of their relationship. So probably there. Yeah, I'll come back to it later, but there feels comfortable for now. Next is Transformation. This is just the Starfire puberty episode. If ever there's going to be another Starfire episode, How Long is Forever is definitely it. But this is actually another nice one. I mean, you have the whole. It's basically just a metaphor for puberty, but for a Tamaranian this time. But it is a really nice Starfire insecurity episode because, echoed in Blackfire earlier, this is basically just basically just another Blackfire episode rehashed. And you get to see a lot of Starfire's insecurities in this and how she wants to overcome that because she is a stranger to this world and she feels inferior and that her friends might reject her at any moment if she appears too different. And I'm trying to remember the exact line in the episode, but I think Robin says something along the lines of, "It's just another monster. We take it down like the rest." And Starfire starts to look like a monster at first in this episode, so that really hits her the wrong way and makes her really insecure. So that's really nice. Come to think about that, I actually think I'm going to re-rank the Blackfire episode just for that because that's a really good Starfire moment in that, especially between Robin. This episode is basically just not as cool Sisters episode. So these are both probably going up, actually. Probably above above one of the Raven episodes. I don't know if I'm going to put it above. Yeah, actually, I think I'll put it above the sum of his parts. And I'm going to move Blackfire all the way up here because Blackfire is just a better version of this episode. And I think, yeah, I'll put it there for now. Again, I'll revisit these all later, but that feels comfortable for now. Titans Rising. This is Terra's second episode, and this one is really, really good as well. It just, again, any episode with Terra is going to be nice. You have Terra's return. Raven is not trustful of her because she suddenly learns to control her powers, and Raven is the only one that seems suspicious enough. They help stop a plot of Slade to basically sink Titan's tower and deal damage. You have a lot of really good character moments of what we figure out is Terra winning over the Titan's trust because she is, unbeknownst to everybody, working for Slade at this moment. But it's really nice character building moments with a lot of people. This is probably going up there. I don't It's gonna go around here. I don't know if I like it better than her introductory episode because you really, really get a sense and a feel for her character there. I think I don't know if I like it better than the introduct. I think I'm gonna put it here for now because I think we get a little bit more out of her character in her introductory episode than this. Again, this one's still good, but it's probably it may actually go into the masks episode because having Robin go delve in depth with Slade and trying to get his trust in that is really good. Do I like it more than the Puppet King episode? This is when I come across the good episodes of the series, this is when it starts to get tough because there are a lot of really good episodes in this series, and this is when it starts to get a little bit more difficult. Uh, I think I'm gonna leave it there for now, and then I'll revisit it later on. Winner take all. This is just a bunch of the Titans heroes, and then Gizmo thrown in there for some reason. Uh, this is basically just a tournament arc / battle royale at the end with all the good guy heroes that we have so far, plus Gizmo thrown in there for whatever reason. Master of Games really isn't all that intriguing of a villain. You do get some nice character moments with Robin because you get Robin's hyper competitive side, and then toward the end you realize he's all about this. Winning's the only thing that matters. But then he realizes, hey, maybe you need to take it down a step or two, and maybe relying on others isn't necessarily so bad. It's a nice Robin character moment, but I don't think it's as good as some of the other character moments. This is kind of a halfway episode of some serious moments and a little bit of goofy. So it's probably going to hover around the Mad Mod episode for me because Mad Mod is like my standard for a good Teen Titans comedic episode. So it probably will go just under that. I think it's gonna. Nah, I think it goes under. I think it's probably gonna go a bit more further down. The goofy parts of this episode drag it down, and the lesson isn't really that profound. Like, yeah, Robin starts off as hyper competitive, but that's kind of like whatever. I do like it a bit better than Divide and Conquer, but again, the problem is there's some of the more goofy elements of this episode, and Master of Games just isn't all that interesting a villain to me. So it's probably just going there for now. Betrayal. Now this episode is one that's gonna go up there. I think this is probably gonna go above the introductory episode. You find out Tara's been working for Slade. She lured Beast Boy away so that the rest of the Titans could be attacked by Slade. You have the little mini fight between Beast Boy and Slade, and the reveal, and then the moment that really gets me in this is I used to hate this moment because again, I used to think that Tara's misunderstanding of Beast Boy was really contrived until I came to realize, no, that's the natural outcome of that. Beast Boy turning it back around on Tara when Tara realizes that she hates what she's done, and then Beast Boy just saying, Slade's right, you don't have any friends. That moment was just like, oh my. I was not expecting Beast Boy to say that. And because, unfortunately, Beast Boy has to think that way. Tara betrayed them and tried to have Beast Boy's friends killed by Slade. So naturally, he would feel like that. So a bunch of misunderstandings and terrible decisions just drove them further apart. It drove Beast Boy to not really be all that fond of Tara anymore, at least in this moment. And it drove Tara further into the arms of Slade. So this episode is just really, really good. I think it's definitely under Apprentice, but here's where it starts to get to. I think it's going to go above. Yeah, it's going to go above How Long Is Forever. Just the moments that happen in this episode, the moments where you see Tara struggling with her own decisions in her psyche, especially in that room of mirrors where Slade ends up being just it's just I could go on about this episode. It's just really cool. Fractured. This is the epitome of just dumb, goofy episode. Johnny Rancid as a villain is not cool, and the whole Larry thing, while it does confirm that this is Dick Grayson along with some moments in Aftershock, it's not Aftershock, Apprentice. This is just dumb, goofy episode. I just don't know if it's just which one do I not like more? Every Dog Has His Day or Fractured. We're competing for. I think this one is going more toward the bottom. I mean, Larry as a character is just kind of annoying, even more annoying than Soto, almost, I would say. So, like, Yeah, I think it's just gonna go there. It's just dumb, goofy episode. It's just there to be filler. And matter of fact, yeah, this is gonna solidify it at the bottom because it comes between Betrayal and Aftershock Parts 1 and 2, which are some of the best episodes in the series. Spoiler alert. But I wish they had put this. I wish they had put this before Betrayal. That way we could have gotten Betrayal and then Aftershock back to back. This just feels like it's interrupting something really, really cool. So yeah, it's going to the bottom. Speaking of Aftershock, I think this is going just under the Apprentice is still better as a two-parter, but Aftershock parts 1 and 2, it's better than the Betrayal. This is the payoff for that. These are the big payoff moments you get to see with Tara's character, her full betrayal of the Titans, thinking that she kills them. There are some really good fights in this, especially her fight with Raven in the mud room. That was just so good. And then her entire interaction with Slade after that. It just this is another one I could go on about it, but Tara's moments in this, especially with Slade, it's good. That's all I can say about it. Next, Deception. This is the introduction of Brother Blood and Cyborg going back to high school. This one's definitely good. This is actually one where I wish that they had gotten more of that, because this, once again, plays into Cyborg's insecurities. This is definitely the best Brother Blood episode, so this is going to be going up there. And some really, really nice character moments from Cyborg. I mean, his natural childhood was cut short because of his accident, turning him half machine. And so he gets to act like a normal high schooler, at least for a little bit. And I wish we had gotten more of that, because that was really, really interesting. So this is probably going up there, and plus John DiMaggio plays Brother Blood, and his performance just knocks it out the park. And just overall, these are really good character moments for Cyborg. I wish we had gotten a bit more of this. It's going above the Raven Starfire episode with the Puppet King episode. I don't know if it's better than some of the Terra episodes, because the Terra arc is just really, really good. This one in particular, probably gonna go just above it. Yeah, that feels comfortable for the moment, because like I said, this is the best Brother Blood episode, and just really, really good character moment for Starfire, for Cyborg. So I think it's just gonna go there for now. X. This episode is, I guarantee you, is going above the other one. It's probably even going above the other Robin one. Somebody steals the Red X suit, and then we get to see a lot of the shenanigans that happen with that. Red X as a character, especially now that it's not Robin anymore, is just so cool. I love when he appears I love when he appears on the show. My only gripe with this is, how did he get the Red X suit? Because he would have had to steal it from Titan's Tower right under Robin's nose. And how are you going to do that? Like, logistically, how did he pull that off? But, that's a tough one to just outright dismiss, but whatever. I think it's going to go here. Just Red X as a villain is really cool. I think it's going to go just above the Robin Red X episode. Betrothed, the second and only other episode that Blackfire is in. Again, I thought she was in way more episodes than this. I don't think it's as good as the other Blackfire episode, because it's sort of the same rehashed, except it's just a lot more of a basic plot. It's a bunch of, what a twist moments, except just a lot more cheesy. Like, Starfire is actually engaged now because of an arranged marriage, and it's because Blackfire took over Tamaran while she escaped jail. But oh no, it's all actually a trick. It's all for some shady deal. Like, it's just, it works as an episode, and Starfire finally gets a genuine win over Blackfire, although I think it's really dumb how they do it here, because Starfire is technically the slightly better fighter, but Blackfire has that jewel that amps her power, so a little contrived, but it's fine. I think I'm gonna put this under the Mad Mod episode. It may go under. This may go under Final Exam, because the Hive introduction and the character moments in that is really good. I think I'm gonna put it there. That feels right for now. It's just, This one just isn't as cool as the other episodes. As this isn't as cool as Sisters, and then Transformation is basically just a slightly less good Sisters episode. So it's just, yeah, we're gonna. I'll put it there for now. I'll come back to it if I feel like it. Next is Crashed. This is when Beast Boy accidentally uploads a virus into Cyborg, which feels a little ridiculous because I thought Cyborg was supposed to have like the best computer system on Earth because he's half machine and he's really, really advanced, but I digress. This is another one of those episodes that borders way more on the goofy. There's some nice moments with Beast Boy and Gizmo, especially having to navigate through Cyborg to undo the virus. But again, I gravitate more toward the serious. I also don't think Beast Boy should be able to transform into an amoeba because like, can you really count that as an animal? Like it's I know that's a nitpick, but like I don't think he should be able to. Also, especially because if Beast Boy were smarter, if he can genuinely do this, why does he not just transform into an amoeba, go inside somebody, and then transform into a big animal like a whale? Matter of fact, we know he can do that because I'm going to discuss this later on with the season 4 finale with Trigon. He turns into like some bird or bug, flies into Trigon's ear, and then turns into a whale, which, you know, is not going to kill Trigon because he's Trigon. But like, if he can do that, why, if he just wants to kill somebody, why doesn't he just transform into an amoeba and then grow into a whale inside somebody? Like, do the Ant-Man Thanos meme to people. So like, it's okay. My nitpick aside, this episode's fine. There's some nice moments with Beast Boy and Gizmo, but overall, it's just kind of a goofy episode. So like, again, Mad Mod is my standard for a good goofy episode. So this is probably going to go under some of the other ones. Maybe slightly better than Divide and Conquer because there are some nice moments in there. Yeah, that feels good for now. We'll just leave it at that. Haunted. This is gonna go. This is gonna. This episode is really good. This is gonna be competing with Aftershock. Good. It's not better. It's not better than The Apprentice, I don't think. But Haunted is like one of the best. Matter of fact, I am tempted to put it above Apprentice, actually. This may be the best one so far. I'm gonna leave it here for now, but like just, oh man, this is actually tough. This is legitimately one of the best episodes in the series. You really see the psychological toll that Slade has taken on Robin. We never get the answer to the question who activated the reagent in Slade's helmet to be able to trigger this within Robin to start seeing Slade out of nowhere. But just everything about this episode is so good. Robin's declining mental state because of the reagent and because of his obsession with Slade. Every fight in here is really, really good. The voice acting is on par with this. This is the most serious Robin has ever been in the series. You get to see serious moments from the other characters. Tara Strong's voice work on Raven in this episode is really good, especially after she sees that Robin really is seeing Slade. I mean, just that primal scream that she has of just screaming out Slade's name when she sees, oh shit, Robin actually is seeing Slade and he is going to die if this keeps up. Like every voice actor just showed up and did their job on this. This was just everything in this episode was good. This is definitely going in front of Aftershock. Like the Terror arc is really, really good, but Haunted is just such a good episode. I'm tempted to put it above Apprentice, and I don't know if I can justify it because Apprentice is a really good two-parter, especially because it sets up Haunted. I'm gonna leave it behind Apprentice for now, but I may argue to put it in front later. This episode is just that good. Next, Spellbound. This is another Raven-centered episode, so it's probably gonna start around one of the other ones. I do like this one. This one has some nice character moments from Raven because you see a lot more of her feeling ostracized from the others because she feels kind of. I think this is the episode where Beast Boy calls her creepy. And then she just takes that to heart the rest of the episode. She finds this book. And Malchior as a villain is pretty cool. I think he's like the most powerful spellcaster type character or spellcaster type villain in this. And he's he is definitely a really cool villain, especially the way he's able to get in Raven's head and kind of use her emotions against her to be able to convince her to free him from the book. The one thing I don't really like is that Raven doesn't get a genuine win over him, which like I get it. He teaches her every like major spell that she knows at this point. You can kind of foreshadow that he's going to get sealed back in the book. But like and unfortunately the whole Brotherhood of Evil thing ruins this for me because then later on they bring him back for the Brotherhood of Evil fight and then he just gets one tapped by Harold, which is ridiculous because I think he should be able to warp back to the fight. Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about, I'll gripe about that when I get to the Brotherhood of Evil thing. But long story short, they ruined Warp's character as well from the Starfire episode, How Long Is Forever. I'll complain about that whenever we get to that episode. But no, this episode's nice. There's some good moments with Raven's character in this, and Malchior I think is a really cool villain. So we're gonna, I think, hover around. It's going under the Terra stuff. I think right around here is some of the other Raven stuff. Nah, this. I think that's one of the weaker Terra episodes. Still good, but it may go above. It may go above Deception. I think the Red X stuff I'm keeping there. Cyborg's character. We've already gotten some good moments from Cyborg. I think I'm gonna leave it here for now. Around some of the other Raven stuff, I'll start to play around with this a bit later on. Revolution. This is the second Mad Mod episode, and while it's funny for power ranking with Mad Mod because then it turns out no, he's actually warping reality whenever he does that because they're not just in a school anymore. Like he legitimately makes the streets look like a straight out of a comic book, and there's a giant British flag in the back. Again, I like Mad Mod as the villain, as you know, just weaponizing being British. But this episode is definitely a lot weaker in it. This one feels a little too goofy, over the top. It's essentially a worse version of his other appearance, so it's definitely going under that. I think I like the introduction of the Hive better in Final Exam. Brother Blood's introduction, I think, is. Oh no, that's not the one I'm thinking of. No, I like Blackfire's second appearance more. There are at least some more serious moments in the Challengers episode. I think it's gonna fall right around here. This is another episode. That's another episode. Crash is another kind of half goofy, half serious episode. So probably around here. Nah, I think I'm gonna put it under Divide and Conquer. Yeah, I can at least laugh a bit at some of the Mad Mod stuff because again, just weaponizing being British is hilarious to me. But I think it's under some of the at least Divide and Conquer. I'm gonna say. Wavelength. This is the second kind of big Hive Brother Blood episode, and his other appearance is stronger, I think. Yeah, Deception. It's definitely going under Deception because the other appearance of Brother Blood is way better. He essentially looked at Cyborg's blueprints and decides to take his revenge on them by building a sonic machine that's going to create a tsunami to take out the city. There's not as many good character moments in this. Brother Blood definitely feels a bit weaker in this episode, and so does everybody else. You get to see, Bumblebee as another agent undercover, but it's just a lot. It's just a lot weaker. I think it's going to go under some of the more impactful episodes. Oh man, I may put this under the Mad Mod episode. Legitimately. I actually think this is going to go beneath. Nah, I think it's going to go just above Blackfire's second appearance. Yeah, that feels right. That feels okay. The Beast Within. This is a really good episode. After my one gripe with this is at the beginning, you kind of have Beast Boy just being an asshole just to be an asshole. But otherwise, you get to see a little bit more of him, especially his moments with Raven in this episode. I don't think it's going to be better than some of these moments, But Beast Within is a really good episode, especially you see like that darkness within him, and he's willing to use it again later on against Trigon. That's that's what ends up elevating this episode a bit more to me, is because you see this darkness in him with it, and he's willing to tap back into it to protect Raven later on against Trigon, which ends up kind of elevating this episode. So, where do I want this one? There's some really nice character moments with Beast Boy and Raven in this. I think it's gonna go. The contrived thing about Beast Boy just being an asshole to be an asshole is a little unfortunate for me, so it's probably gonna go under. I think it's gonna go under some of the, maybe right around here. Nah, there's some good character moments from Raven in this. I think right around. Yeah, that feels comfortable for now. I'll play around with it later on if I feel I need to. Can I keep him? This episode borders much more on the silly. This is kind of the introduction to Silky. Had been in the background up until now as kind of a little side pet animal character, and they give him a bit more of an appearance with this. Killer Moth takes him over for a bit, but this episode borders more on like the goofy than the serious. It doesn't really do as much for me. Again, Killer Moth's not really all that intriguing to me. This is probably going to go down a bit more. I think, yeah, just above the goofiness of the Blackfire episode. I think right there is at least fine, because there is a really nice moment in there where Starfire has to abandon Silky, and then that moment of parting from them, and then Killer Moth coming back to do what he did, it was at least nice. But the rest of the episode just kind of weak in that regard. Next, the Lost episode. I actually did not know that this was supposed to be here until now. And I think this is supposed to be around here. This may be later on in the series. I didn't even know there was a Lost episode until I got the Trouble in Tokyo DVD and realized that there was supposed to be a little bit more content. This is basically just a little 12-minute episode where the Titans fight a villain named Punk Rockin', who's basically just, guitar sound wave guy. It's okay for what it is. Not much happens. It's your standard Teen Titans fight. They struggle against the villain at first, and then some contrived thing happens later on to where they're able to overpower him. The only other time you see Punk Rockin' is with the whole Brotherhood of Evil stuff. So it's not really a great episode. It's probably going to go a bit. It's probably going to go down. Kind of just not really much entertaining happens. I think I'm going to put it just above the second Mad Mod episode, just because that one feels a bit more goofy. No, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put it just under the other Mad Mod episode, because I can at least appreciate trying to get that humor again. But this one's just kind of, it's not bad, but it's not great either. The title for this episode is longer than it should be, and like only slightly funny. Bunny, Raven, or How to Make a Titanimal Disappear. Yeah, try saying that one 5 times fast. But this is where Mumbo comes back, and the concept of this alone is just really, really funny. He traps the Titans in his hat, and then kind of bends that world to his will, and just does all that. It's really funny. And Tom Kenny's performance as Mumbo once again is really good, and his they give him a musical number in this. So this is another instance of the good Titans humor. So I'm starting around the Mad Mod episode. I don't know if I like it more, because the way they beat him is a little silly. Like they can't do anything in the world that of Mumbo's hat, but then all of a sudden they beat him with paint. When you look at the paint, all they have is red paint, but they somehow manage to paint themselves to look like the scenery behind them to trick Mad Mod into opening the cage, and then they just beat him from there. That's a little silly. So I think with that, it's going to go under the Mad Mod episode definitely. But otherwise it's pretty funny. I mean Tom Kenny's performance alone is just really good in this. So I think I'm going to put it just under the Mad Mod episode for now. Yeah, that feels right. Titans East, Part 1 and 2. This is the Season 3 finale, and I don't really like this. The Titans East as characters just aren't as interesting as the original Titans, and the manner in which Cyborg beats Brother Blood is just so it is a literal Deus Ex Machina, which I never thought I'd be able to say. But it's just, it's not the machine who resists you, is it? It's my spirit, and that's the part you can't break. It's just, it smells of the writers wrote themselves into a corner, and they kind of had to Deus Ex Machina it so that Cyborg could beat Brother Blood, and just I'm sorry, when Brother Blood has all of the core Titans and the Titans East captive, and he's that powerful, and he just gets arbitrarily beaten by Cyborg. It's just so and they try to justify it by Beast Boy saying, "Oh, are you like magic now?" And then Cyborg saying, "Pretty sure that was a one-time deal." Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't undo the Deus Ex Machina. This one's gonna go pretty far down, unfortunately. Like, I probably like the car episode, but I think I even like the Thunder and Lightning episode better than this. It's gonna go just above the goofy Every Dog Has His Day and Fractured episodes, but this one's I don't like this. This one's bad. It also suffers from, unfortunately, Brother Blood is supposed to be the big bad of this series, and he's just not as cool as Slade or Trigon I like John DiMaggio. I like his performance, but this just is so contrived. It feels unfortunate, but it just is what it is. Next, the start of season 4 is called episode 257 through 494. This is the return of Control Freak. This one's kind of another like just dumb, goofy episode. They literally go into the TV and go to a lot of the other shows. Just a whole joke about Beast Boy watching too much TV. It's another one of like the not as good goofy episodes. So like it's going under Mad Mod and the Bunny Raven episode, and it's probably going to take a couple of hits just because I don't like as much of the goofy humor with this. There's some nice moments in this, but otherwise it just doesn't really do it for me. I think it's going under I'll put it just above the other Mad Mod episode. Nah, actually I don't think I will. Just above the Lost episode, I think. Yeah, that feels right. It just doesn't do it for me. The Quest. This is where Robin the start of this episode is really dumb because he loses to some I can't even remember the villain's name, the dude in the red outfit who's also a martial artist who tried to do this quest before, who somehow beats Robin at the beginning of this in 3 moves, and then Robin beats him later on in 3 moves after doing the whole training thing. It's just the setup isn't really all that great. It's your standard, go on a quest to get stronger and outthink your opponent. The fights in this start out okay, but every fight that Robin gets in this episode just kind of starts and ends the same way, and it just doesn't really do much for me. So this is probably going to go down a bit more. It's some nice growth moments for Robin, so it's decent, but I think I like the introduction of the Hive a bit better. So probably right around there feels okay. Yeah, we'll do that for now. However, the start to a really, really good arc this season, Birthmark. This is the return of what is known as Scath Slade. Slade is now working for Scath, who we later find out is Trigon, and boy, does he come back. This is so good. This is the episode that makes you think, should this really have been rated like G or PG, whatever it was? I mean, you legitimately have a moment at the end where Slade almost literally rips off much of Raven's clothes and puts the birthmark on her and makes her see the terrible future that she's supposed to do. Like, this is probably not meant for some of the kids of the ages that were watching this. But just all the stuff that happens in here is just like, this is definitely going over. This is going over some of the Terra stuff. I don't know if it's going over Aftershock just because Aftershock was that good, but I think it's going over Betrayal because this is a really, really good setup to the Trigon arc that's about to happen next. Slade is so cool in this episode. You really see Raven's fears manifest in this, and that she doesn't want to do this, but her destiny's coming true. I think it's going right. Yeah, that feels right. Just under Aftershock. I'm gonna put it there for now. This is one of the best episodes in the series, so it's definitely going here. Next, Cyborg the Barbarian. This episode's okay. It's not really too much profound stuff happens. You have Cyborg sent back into the past. There's the the primitive dude. I can't even remember his name. Is like he rescued a witch and is now sending aliens to attack his tribe so that he can look cool. But the witch keeps screwing him over. Like he's like, oh, make me look cool and a champion. So he sends a bunch of aliens for them to fight that he can't defeat. So he's like, oh, give me the strength that I can defeat them, and he sends Cyborg instead. Like she just keeps finding ways to kind of screw him over, that's at least funny. But like, I can't really get too invested in this. There's some nice moments between Cyborg and Saracen, I think is her name, the main chief lady. But otherwise, like, it's tough for me to care about these characters because they're one-off characters. They're not really all that interesting. So like, it's whatever, you know. And then Cyborg's motivations don't really make as much sense in here. He's just trying to get home, but then he denies it at first because, like, yeah, he wants to help out, but like, dude, you can't survive in a primitive age. So, I think I like it better than Can I Keep Him? Do I like it better than the other Brother Blood episodes? Here's probably the benchmark. I think I'll put it right here. Yeah, that feels okay. I'll come back to it if not. Employee of the month. This episode is just dumb. This is going pretty far down. It's just the main plot. The main plot is goofy. The subplot doesn't even really do much. You have like the discount tofu guy is the villain. It's going down here with the other goofy episodes. I'm just deciding if I like the whole Cyborg Brother Blood stuff more than Bob is at least funny in this, so it's probably going over that. But I'd rather watch the Forces of Nature episode. It's man, what does that say about the season 3 finale that I have it down here with the goofy episodes? But yeah, it's probably going down there. It's not great. Trock. This episode is another Starfire episode, and this one is this is one of those ones where you don't really think they're going to tackle this. They literally have Starfire and team dealing with an actual racist, because Valior is a dude who's like a nice hero, really strong, but he's just racist against Tamaranians for some reason, and you see that play out in this. Most things that happen in this aren't too terribly interesting, but it's an interesting topic to tackle in a kids show, so I'll at least give it that. But otherwise, it doesn't really do much for me. The stakes aren't really too high in this episode, so it's probably going to go decently far down in this. There's some nice moments with Starfire in this, though. The reassurance that her team likes her, but it's kind of the same beat rehash, that she feels insecure and that her team wouldn't like her. They think Valior is cooler. It's essentially worse versions of Sisters in Transformation. So it's going to take a couple hits because of that. I think I like the Mad Mod and Mumbo episodes better in the introduction. I think I'll put it just above the other Brother Blood episode. Yeah, that feels okay right there. It's kind of a 50-50 for me, but it feels okay for there right now. The Prophecy. This is going up there. This is going up there with Birthmark. This is really, really good. You see a lot more of Raven's fears. You see the actual prophecy foretold with this one. You see Slade coming back to send more messages and really foreshadow Trigon's coming. I just don't know if I'm going to put this in front of or behind Birthmark, because this episode is just, the whole Trigon arc is really good. I'm just trying to decide where I want with this, because this is such a good episode. This is actually kind of tough. I think slightly above Birthmark, because the moment, if nothing else, just for the moment where Slade is trying to disappear and then Raven just drags him back up and is like, hold on, I'm not done ragdolling you yet. That at least was funny. So yeah, I'll put it there if nothing else for that. Stranded is up next. This is, if I recall, this is the misunderstanding of Starfire of the whole girlfriend thing. Mm, there's some nice character moments in this. It kind of advances the whole Robin Starfire relationship. The Screecher is a pretty, I think it's called the Screecher, whatever that like alien creature villain from the series is. This episode was not bad. The whole B plot with everybody else getting stranded, like Cyborg having to talk Beast Boy into repairing stuff is whatever. Raven dealing with those tiny little alien creatures is whatever as well. Uh, this episode is really about Robin and Starfire, which I like it for that, if nothing else. It kind of progresses their relationship a bit more. But it starts off with just kind of a dumb misunderstanding, and just going from there is just kind of whatever. I think I'm gonna put it under some of his parts just because that's a really good character moment for Cyborg. But here, that feels correct. The advancement of their relationship is nice, so I'll put it there. Overdrive. This is where Cyborg gets that Max 7 chip or whatever it is so that he can do more in the day. Introduction of Billy Numerous as well as a villain. Cyborg kind of one-taps Adonis earlier on in this episode, but then he starts losing to Billy Numerous. I don't think Billy's a bad villain. I just think he works better as a group when he has more people to bounce off of villain-wise than he does as a solo villain. So it's probably going to go a bit lower for me. There's just not really good character moments in this. Cyborg's draining off more of his other stuff, including his emotions, to feed the chip. And you can just see that he's going to crash eventually, and they have to figure out another solution to it. It isn't really all that interesting. It's probably going to go underneath some of these. There's at least good lessons and cool moments in some of these other episodes. Oh man, yeah, this one's probably going to go down decently far. Probably under at least the Mad Mod episode. And I think just under the one of the other Control Freak episodes. This feels correct. I'll put it there for now. Mother May I. This one's gonna take some hits just because it's another just dumb, goofy episode where the way it starts is ridiculous. The way it ends is even more ridiculous. Like how contrived it is that they beat her, and unfortunately, it comes before the end, which is not the literal end of the series, but the end, part 1, 2, and 3, which are all really, really good episodes. So like this is one that upon rewatch, I'm just like, okay, I know what's coming next. I kind of just want to get through this one. So like, it's probably going underneath. It's another one of those goofy episodes that just doesn't do it for me. So I'm just deciding which goofy episode I'd rather watch, and I think I like it slightly better than Fractured, and I'd rather watch Every Dog Has His Day, I think. Right? Like it's not great, unfortunately. It's pretty down there. The End, however, is going straight to the top. Like this, I kept thinking of reasons of why I would not put this above Apprentice or Haunted or any of the rest of them, but The End it's just some of the best episodes in the series. It's just everything that happens in here. Trigon's return, the fights that happen, every interaction with Slade and Robin having to team up, Raven's return, the character moments you get of Cyborg, Starfire, and Beast Boy having to fight themselves and then fight each other. It's all so good. You get so many good character moments in this. These are the best episodes in the series, at least so far. I don't know if anything else is going to be able to dethrone it. Funny enough, it's just that good. Next, Homecoming parts 1 and 2. This is another two-parter as the start of the series, funny enough. So I will be ranking these two together. The only episodes that the Doom Patrol is in, funny enough. We get a bit more of the origins of Beast Boy. The Brotherhood of Evil, their introduction is a little silly. The Doom Patrol seem a little uptight, but that's actually what makes this episode kind of interesting from Beast Boy's perspective, because you end up getting a lot of his character from this and why he ends up being the way that he is, because since he grew up with the Doom Patrol, he grew up really serious, and he really looked to them as as his early familial figures, and why he was so desperate for their approval at first. And so we really get an insight as to why Beast Boy is the way he is. So this is actually a really good Beast Boy moment. And the Brotherhood of Evil ends up being okay. They're definitely better than Brother Blood, unfortunately, which I hate to say it because John DiMaggio is just really cool, but it just is what it is. I think it's you just get so much more out of Raven's moments that I think it's going to go there. I think it goes just above Beast Within though, because there were some nice moments in that as well. But fully learning Beast Boy's origins, I think does it a little bit better. So probably those two. Yeah, that feels right. I'll play around with it if not. Trust. This is where Madame Rouge goes after Hotspot to steal the communicators so that the Brotherhood of Evil can start the plan, and then Robin shows up as well. This episode's okay. It's basically there just for the setup for Madame Rouge to steal the communicator, so the rest of the plot can happen for the remainder of the series. The fights are decently cool, especially given that Madame Rouge can't really touch Hotspot because of his powers. She has to be cunning and tricky and use a bunch of trickery. Her powers are just, may I say, her powers are just stupid. She has like some elasticity powers, and she can do just like anything with that. She can shapeshift into people because she can change her form. She gets really strong, like absurdly strong to be able to like punch through concrete kind of strong, which is a little silly, but you know. But Madame Rouge is easily the coolest of the Brotherhood of Evil villains. Like the Brain is whatever. Monsieur Mala is okay. General Immortus is there. Like she's easily the coolest. So if nothing else for that. And it's on a serious beat as well, so it's definitely going above a lot more of these. I think maybe just under some of his parts because of the cyborg moments in here. The fights are really cool, though, and it introduces a really key plot point for the series. And you get some nice character moments between Robin and Hotspot and all the rest of the people. Nah, I think I'm going to put it here. I like the cyborg character building moment a bit more. Trust. This is where the Titans East come to watch over the regular Titans Tower for a bit because the core Titans are going to recruit people for recruit people for the global Titans. Again, unfortunately, the Titans East just really aren't that, especially when stacked up to the core Titans. They're just not that interesting. And then this is another Control Freak episode. This is one of the weaker ones of his. The episode just ends up being kind of more goofy than anything else. The challenges he comes up with and the way that they beat him is really not that good. I think I'm gonna start right around this one. Probably starts right around Divide and Conquer, and I think it's under the other Mad Mod episode because I at least think he's funny as a villain. No, this is going down further because this is under some of the Control Freak episodes. No, I'd rather watch that. I'd rather watch Deep Six. There's at least a bit more better moments in the car episode, and I think I'd rather watch Thunder and Lightning because at least Slade is in that. So yeah, probably there. It's not great. Oh, just in case I called this episode Trust, I think this is supposed to be the episode for real. So yeah, take that as you will. But next up is Snowblind. This is the introduction to Red Star. Season 5, unfortunately, had the problem of they thought they were getting 20 episodes, but then as they started airing them, Cartoon Network told them, hey, you're actually only getting 13. So while this is a nice episode for some of the other Titans that we meet, it's really one of the only ones that we get. And Red Star is cool. There's just not much to this episode. I mean, he just kind of locks himself up because he doesn't want his power going wild. And turns out there's a radiation leak anyway, so he ends up creating a villain without his knowledge. And again, the individual character and his origin are cool, but just not much happens with him. And just unfortunately, season 5 suffered from having to be rushed because Cartoon Network kind of screwed them over with the episode count. So it's not really the creator's fault. It's Cartoon Network's fault. And trust me, we'll get into that later. Believe me. But Snowblind. I mean, Red Star as a character is cool. That's why I'm trying to be generous. But with everything else that happens here, and there's not really many other moments. There's another Starfire mini moment in here, but it's not as good as some of the rest of them. So I think it's going to go kind of a bit lower down. I think I care about it a little bit more than Cyborg the Barbarian because there is the Starfire moment, and Red Star is cooler than any of the primitive people. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for now. Cole. This is the introduction to Cole and Gennark, who just kind of live up north. I This is the Doctor Light episode, or another one of them, and Doctor Light works as a quick one-off villain. As a main antagonist, I just don't think his performance is as strong. Uh, oh, funny enough, this is Doctor Light is voiced by Squidward's voice actor. I can't remember his name, unfortunately. I feel bad. So that's who it was. So we had Clancy Brown as Trident, Tom Kenny as Mumbo, and Squidward's voice actor as Doctor Light. So there's some of the main SpongeBob cast making their way in here. But otherwise, Doctor Light is a main antagonist. Just like he's a bit more powerful because of the episode, but it just doesn't do as much for me. Cole and Gennark aren't really characters that are all that compelling, so it just doesn't do as much for me. And I think it's going under the Control Freak episode. I think it may go under Overdrive because there's at least. Nah, I think I like it a bit better than Overdrive. Overdrive is just kind of. Yeah, because I don't think Billy Numerous works as well as a solo villain. But, nah, I think it's going to go under. I think just above the Lost episode. Yeah, we'll do there for now. Hide and Seek. This episode simultaneously has a decent idea of making Raven be the one to babysit superpowered kids and then seeing her struggle with that because she's obviously not good with kids. But other than that, just like most of the moments with the kids just aren't all that compelling. And I get it. Like, it's supposed to be that on purpose because babysitting kids normally, especially when you add them with superpowers, is supposed to be annoying and not all that easy and not that enjoyable. And it's funny to have to see Raven pitted up against that. But just like, again, Monsieur Mala just is not that compelling of a villain. He's a smart gorilla is all that he is. Although I will say that seeing him ragdolled by Bobby, who is that, living, strong, almost imaginary friend bear creature, seeing Mala ragdolled by Bobby was really funny. So if nothing else, I'll give the episode a couple points for that. And there's some nice moments with Raven in this episode, so it's probably it'll get a little bit of mileage. Okay, it's gonna get a lot of mileage just for Bobby ragdolling Mala in the Raven moments. So I think I'm hovering around Snowblind for this. I think just above, if nothing, just for Bobby ragdolling Mala, only for that. Lightspeed. This is the Kid Flash episode. This one is really good because you have Kid Flash kind of give a redemption arc to Jinx. Jinx is one of the cooler recurring villains, and the fact that she gets at least a halfway decent redemption arc is nice. And Kid Flash is just cool. This episode's gonna get a lot of mileage out of those. I think it's definitely going above these. Maybe above some of his parts. Yeah, because we get enough cyborg moments, but I think. Do I put it above the Starfire moments though? I think a little bit under because these characters are cool, but not as cool as some of our core cast. So probably right underneath the sum of his parts. Yeah, that feels right. Revved Up. This is going down here with the goofy episodes. This is just a dumb racing episode. Ding Dong Daddy is a stupid villain. He's just goofy. How did he manage to steal the case from Robin? We'll never have that explained to us. A bunch of other villains show up in the race for no reason and with no voiceover because otherwise they'd have to pay their voice actors and they just don't do anything with it. Red X is cool in this episode, but like that's it. It's just kind of a goofy episode otherwise. And then of course they don't show us what's in the case for Robin, so they tease the audience with that. It's definitely better than Mother May I just don't know if it's above Every Dog Has His Day. I'll put it above that just because of Red X, but otherwise this episode is just not great. Again, I gravitate much more toward the serious, so the goofy episodes are going to be kind of toward the bottom. Go. This episode is literally called Go. This one is good. This is the origin of the Teen Titans. We get to see them before they were a team, before they came together. This This is really good. You get to see a lot more of what they were like before they met each other, a lot of their insecurities, a lot of their early character, them not being able to work together well as a team because they're not a team yet. This is really good. And I really love that they put this origin episode as one of the last episodes because you really get to see how far the characters came over the course of the series and how much they developed and grew. So this is gonna go up there. I think this is gonna go above some of the other Terra stuff. I think just under How Long Is Forever feels right because that episode was just really really good. Um, yeah, I put it above Only Human because the Atlas episode was cool, but this one's cooler. Uh yeah. Now I'm kind of debating How Long Is Forever. Nah, I think How Long Is Forever wins just ever so slightly. But yeah, this episode's really good. Calling all Titans and Titans together. This is technically not a two-parter in label, but it is meant to be viewed that way, so I'm going to label this as a two-parter. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going up here with stuff like The End, Apprentice, Aftershock. That's just not happening. It's definitely going to go way higher than Titans East because that one was just bad. I hate how contrived that is. But there's a lot of good moments in this, and then there's a lot of really, really dumb moments in this. I love how they make the Titans divided. I like the plan enacted against them. However, the the execution in a bunch of this was just really, really stupid. How are you going to make the only villain you send after Beast Boy Cardiac, who doesn't have any notable powers and you don't know can beat Beast Boy? That's really stupid. How are you going to tell me that Panther, who we just met like this episode, I'm pretty sure, is able to beat Atlas and Adonis at the same time, who like are probably weaker than some of the standards by now, but otherwise that would mean Panther has to be incredibly strong, which I guess I'm willing to buy if that's what you want to go with that, but that seems a little contrived. And the one, one of the ones I hate the most is that they bring back Malchior and Warp, who are both really cool one-off main antagonists, and then you just have them one-tapped by Harold, who we just meet in this episode. He just sends them to another dimension, which is stupid because Warp, with his abilities and his suit, should just be able to teleport back to where they are, and Malchior probably has some spell to come back, and he probably wouldn't fall for something as simple as that anyway. To which people would say, "Oh, well, then what would your solution be?" Because they were really difficult to defeat in their individual episodes. My solution is don't put them in this finale. They literally I'm convinced they just put them there in order to increase the roster of villains that the global Titans have to fight. Like it's just Warp and Malchior were such cool villains, but these episodes ruin them. But like some of the other moments are cool, like Beast Boy getting to be a leader for a bit is nice. Him getting a win over Mala is okay, but again, Mala isn't that great of a villain. Seeing all the Titans come together is really cool, but I'm trying to weigh the good with the bad here, but like it's gonna be dragged down a bunch. I think I would rather watch the Mad Mod episode. I think I'm gonna put it just above the second Mumbo episode, just because that's another decent goofy episode, but otherwise, yeah. Yeah, that feels right. I'm gonna keep it there for now. Don't worry, almost done. Things change. This is the single most controversial episode in the series for multiple reasons, and all of them stem from the fact that this is the series finale and it leaves so many things unresolved. However, I want to give a little bit of grace to the creators of the show because this wasn't their fault. Like I said earlier, they were supposed to get 20 episodes this season, but then Cartoon Network came in kind of late and then said, "Oh no, sorry, you're only getting 13." So they had to cut a couple things, which is why we get introduced to so many Titans literally just before their final confrontation with the Brotherhood of Evil. And then they really wanted to do this Terra storyline of her potentially coming back. And you know, I get that it's a good metaphor for letting go, like we're not going to get answers to these things. But as a series finale, I get that it's not the creator's fault. It's Cartoon Network's fault. But I have to judge it as a series finale. And as a series finale, like, I'm sorry, it's just bad because it leaves it leaves so much unanswered. There's so many moments in here that I love. The white creature, whatever it is, I think it's literally called the white creature. I don't even know if it has an official name. It's an interesting villain. It's an alien that can adapt to anything, and the Titans are really struggling to fight it. Um, are they able to beat it? We don't know because the fight's still ongoing as the episode ends. That's cool. The implications of Terra being back and Beast Boy having to deal with that are really cool, especially given the fact that if she really has lost her memories, why has she lost her memories? I want to know that. If she really does remember who she is, which is heavily implied that she does, I would like to know why. Is that because she still can't forgive herself for everything that she did to the Titans back in season 2? Do we get to have more moments between her and the Titans, especially Beast Boy, so that they can try to rebuild a relationship or move on from a relationship? Does she still have her powers, and will she still try to do something with that? Just so many questions that are going to be unanswered because of this. Again, I'm trying to judge it fairly because I know it's not the creator's fault, but I have to judge it as a season finale. And as a season finale, it's just so unsatisfactory. And I know some people love this episode because of those implications, because it's a decent life lesson of, life doesn't always go that way. Sometimes you just have to move on. But I have to judge it as the series finale of a really good and popular show. And I think for that reason, I have to put it as the worst episode, because just that's not how you resolve a series. You're either somebody that loves what they did with this, or you're somebody that hates it. And I try to give it as much charity as I can, but just with everything that happens with it, I just can't, unfortunately. So I think I just have to put it there. And I could go on with this, but I just have to put it there, unfortunately. And finally, Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo, the movie that came out after all of this. What also shocked me is that the series only ran from 2003 to 2006, including the movie, by the way. So Teen Titans was only airing for 3 years, technically, and then they just kept rerunning the episodes because they realized it was cheaper to do that than to keep making new content. Again, it's Cartoon Network's fault, which is why I'm trying to judge the other stuff as I can, but I just, But anyway, this movie is really cool. Essentially what you're here for with the main thing with this movie is the resolution to the Starfire and Robin stuff. Starfire and Robin finally kiss and get together as a couple in this movie. Daiso and Brushagun as a villain they're just your standard, good villain. There's the interesting subplot about, Robin potentially people think that he's potentially a murderer because they don't know that Psychotech isn't real at first, so they don't know that it's ink instead of blood. That's a cool thing that happens in there. Some of the other stuff that happens in there is like really dumb. Like, how does Robin know that one little bar that he goes to is somewhere that he's going to be able to learn more about Brushagun? But just like, if that's my one little nitpick, that's fine. Some of the fights are just okay. The manner in which they're able to beat like all the Brushagun summonings when Daiso fuses with Brushagun feels a little cheap, because if they struggled that hard against Psychotech, against the Cat Girl, against the Chef Monster, and against the Astro Boy knockoff and the Ghost thing, like, they struggled to deal with one of those at first, and now they're dealing with an army of them, and they're just kind of one-tapping them. You can argue that they don't have to fight the one that was specifically designed to deal with them, so it makes it a bit easier, and they know what they're capable of, so it makes it a bit easy to deal with. But I still think that's just a little bit contrived. There's a nice moment with Brushagun at the end where, like, you realize why he is what he is, and what Daiso has made him into. Like, it's fine, but you're really just here for the resolution of the whole Robin and Starfire, arc. And for that reason, it's okay. But I want to put this higher because I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie, but I think it's going under some of the cooler moments from the series. I may put it above the Mad Mod thing because Mad Mod's good, but I do like the action in this movie. There's nice character moments with Raven in this episode, so I may put it there. It may go a bit higher. Like Madame Rouge is cool, but I'm not like Hotspot's not really all that cool. I think the episode with Kid Flash is a bit better, so it's probably going to go right there. An argument can be made for it to go lower, but I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Okay, this is what I have so far. I'm just going to do one more sweep over it and see if I'm happy with everything. The End is staying there, and Apprentice. The the one I'm having the trouble with the most is Haunted. This is just such a good episode. I just don't know if I want to put it above The Apprentice because The Apprentice is the lead up into this, and just man, it's just such a good episode. Screw it. I'm putting it above The Apprentice. Yeah, I'm putting that as the second best one. It's my list. I'm gonna do what I want with it. Then Apprentice, then Aftershock. Yeah. Then Prophecy and Birthmark. Those are going there. Betrayal. Yeah. How Long is Forever. Go. Only Human. Yeah, these all feel correct so far. I think I am gonna make a correction and put the Masks episode above X just because Robin is Red X has cooler character implications than just Red X. Although Red X as a character is really cool. The rest of these feel okay. I think I'm gonna move Spellbound just under Terra's other episode. I think I'm gonna move it just under Titans Rising. Yeah, because there's some cooler Terra moments that happen in this. These are good episodes for Raven and Starfire, and for Raven, Homecoming I think is fine there. Beast Within, there are some good Beast Boy moments in this. No, I think it's fine there. Sisters and Transformation, yeah. All these are fine so far. Uh, yeah, I think all of these are okay as is. Yeah, I think I am fine with the rest of those. So that is the list. If you feel like telling me that why does something belong there, then please let me know because, of course, this is my own opinion. So my biases are going to be at play all throughout the rest of this. So just take that as you will. Otherwise, if you made it through all of this, I have a feeling this is going to be a very long video. If you even want to watch this, I know this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh content, but thanks for watching anyway. And other than that, have a good rest of the day.